Hi guys, I am back, and if you didn't notice I was gone, rude, but second of all, I don't blame you because, I've only made like 3 videos last year, so this is my new start and I'll kick it off with a May wrap-up. I've got 6 books to show to you, so stay tuned. So I realize that 6 books for most of you is probably an average month, but for me that's quite a good month. I go through my books in chronological order, and the first book that I read in May was What Belongs to You by Garth Greenwell. I actually read most of this in April and finished it the 1st or 2nd of May, so hey, it counts. One of the reasons that I picked this up was because it was recommended by Hanya Yanagihara herself, of A Little Life and The People in the Trees. So on the millions, I think that she said that she found this to be as beautiful and vivid as poetry, so that definitely caught my eye. This is about an American teacher who moves to Bulgaria. Well, when the story starts, he already is living in Bulgaria for a couple of years, and he meets a hustler in the toilets of some museum, I think. And what ensues is, I want to say a love affair, but I would actually much rather say a lust affair, because while the hustler is just doing his job and, entertaining the teacher is totally addicted to the hustler, who is named Mitko. I guess there's something more than just a business transaction between them, because Mitko appears at his apartment at all times of the night, and mostly it's just for money, but sometimes it goes deeper than that. And we get a look into the teacher's past on how he grew up being gay and how his family wasn't really accepting of him. And I gave this 4 stars because it reminded me of how you can be completely enthralled by someone, and how that person can completely dominate your life, that you only live and breathe that person, even though that person isn't really that much interested in you, or maybe he is, but it's not natural. But it is natural, but it's not healthy to be that addicted to someone. You see that addiction turns into something much more damaging than it should be. I would definitely recommend this, if only for the way that Greenwell describes Bulgaria. I found this book is, I think, not even 200 pages, and it just completely put me into Bulgaria. I've never been there, but somehow I feel like I have been. When the teacher walks through the streets, Greenwell just describes how everything is, how everything feels. You're just there with him. It's Greenwell's debut, and one heck of a debut. Definitely worth your time. The second book that I read was something completely different, and that was Fates and Furies by Groff. This of course caught my eye when Obama declared it his favorite book of 2015, and my god, these people in here are so pretentious. You've got people called Mathilde and Lancelot, who are the main protagonists in this book. And you've got Lancelot's father is called Gawain, and then you have his mother Antoinette. The way they talk to each other and incorporate Greek mythology into everything, because of course Fates and Furies is a Greek mythology. The fates, the 3 fates, the one who spins the thread, the one who measures the thread, and the one who cuts the thread, which is a symbol for how your life is going. I gave this 3 stars because when you dig really deep beneath pretentiousness, there's quite a touching story about how a marriage is difficult, about how a marriage is pouring a lot of water into wine, and yeah, but I don't see how this could have been Obama's favorite book, but then again, each to his own opinion, I guess. Another book that has been big on Booktube was Our Endless Numbered Days, which I gave 2 stars because this is about a girl who gets taken away by her father to a remote German forest, and they live there for like 8 or 9 years, and basically he's kidnapped her because her mother thinks she's dead. And I was more interested in the tiny fragments after she's returned from the forest than the actual story in the forest itself. It's about survival and how she is being told by her father that the world has ended and her mother is dead and everyone they ever knew is dead and they're the only survivors. And I don't know, it didn't quite live up to the hype, I guess, or it didn't quite enthrall me as it should have or as I expected. But like I said, when she returns, it's about how to cope again with her mother, who she thought for 8 years that her mother was dead, and then she has to return home and she's there again, and she has a little brother that she didn't know about. And yeah, those are a few fragments who are far in between, but the ones that I enjoyed the most. So if this book had only been like 50 pages long, maybe I would have enjoyed it more, but you know, I don't think a publisher would have published this. So then on to a book which I saw on Just Kiss My Frogs channel, who is called Leena, I think. I'll link the video in which she describes this book down below, and that book is very McFarlane's It's Not Me, It's You. It just reads like a rom-com. When I was reading this, I was just picturing Isla Fisher just, you know, walking down the street and having all these adventures. This is about a girl called Delia, whose life is suddenly turned upside down because she finds out that her boyfriend has been cheating on her the same night that she proposes to him. So, you know, and she decides to move to London to go for a whole new life, a whole new career. And you know, it's about the people that she meets there, and it's also about the job that she gets there, which is not all that safe, and it's a bit of a shady job, to be honest. And you know, this is more than 500 pages, but I just ripped through it one Monday night, I think. So you know, don't read this on a weekday night because you'll be knackered the next working day. The next book that I read was Norwegian Wood by Haruki Murakami. This is the first Haruki Murakami's book that I've read, and a couple of friends of mine aren't the biggest fans of his, but they never read this one. And after that I've read it because I really liked it. I gave it 4 stars. I read some reviews, and most of them it says that this is not his usual work. This is something that is more out of his comfort zone. So I still can't say if Murakami is a writer that I enjoy, because I obviously read a book that isn't his normal thing. So, but you know, this is about Watanabe, who is a student in Tokyo and is just, I don't know, he doesn't have that much of an ambition. He's just going through life, doing his routines, but he's also in love with Naoko, which was the girlfriend of his best friend, who killed himself when they were like 17 or so. But Naoko also has some mental problems, and it's about how he goes through his life but also tries to be there for her, even though she's on a different planet, so to speak. I really enjoyed this because it gave me such a great picture how it is to be lonely, but by your own choice. Because most of the time when you read a book about loneliness, it's always about how it's forced upon people, how they are casted from society, or how they don't have any friends. And this is about a boy who's in his early 20s and just doesn't need anybody except Naoko, but he's content with being lonely. And I don't know, I found it a refreshing view of loneliness. Then the final book that I read was All the Birds Singing. I saw the review of this on Maxwell's channel from Well Done Books, and you know, after seeing that review I just had to pick it up, and I have to say I was a bit underwhelmed by it. I mean, Evie Wyld writes so gorgeously. This is about Jake, who lives on one of the British islands, and she has a flock of sheep. Which she tends to and there are some people on that island, but not a lot. And when the book starts, a couple of sheep go missing, and then she finds them totally butchered. So she wants to know what's going on, and she suspects that it's one of the people because she doesn't feel quite that accepted. Once again, this is about how loneliness is something that she's chosen for herself. But while we get to see that story, we also get to see how she grows up in Australia. There are two parts to this story. The one on the British Isle, which goes forward in time, and then there's the story about how she grows up and leaves Australia, which go backwards in time. It's about how she becomes a prostitute and such things. And while I find that quite an original way of telling a story, I wasn't that interested in how she spent her time in Australia. I was more interested in what was killing her sheep in England and how she was coping with the people on that island. But I guess to really get her story while living in England, you have to know how she got there. And seeing I didn't really care how she got there, the whole book felt a bit underwhelming for me. Those were the books that I read in May, so if any of you also have read one of these books, please tell me what did you think of them. And I'll see you very soon with my May book haul, because I've bought some books this month, because why not? So, bye!